like, with Cardiff, being a band not from Cardiff, it's been hard to get in because Cardiff is such like a tight knit scene. But I think the second you manage to convince a crowd from Cardiff that you're actually worth playing in Cardiff, everyone is very accepting. It's a very open community of people that actually give a fuck. In South Wales specifically, the venues don't just put bands on to perform. Like, they also make sure that they set bands up for future performances. So every single venue that we play at, in South Wales particularly, they introduce us to them as a person first. Like, they're like, yo, they'll shake our hand, then they'll put us forward to other venues. Like, without independent venues, we won't have anyone coming to us, we won't have anyone knowing us. It's just a bit of fun. I think South Wales has the best scene in the UK at the moment, completely. I think it's fully on par with like what's going on up in North England at the moment, with like the Leeds bands and the Manchester bands. Yeah, no, I just fully think that every piece of insane music that is going to come out of the UK within the next 10 years will have a fully Welsh relation to it.
Gigging in Cardiff so far has been really good. It's always really hard at the start to get your first couple gigs, but when you do a couple, it's kind of like finding a job, you know, at first, and you got to force your way in. But once you've done one or two, it's kind of and you're not too rubbish, you kind of get booked up by some of the bookers and stuff. Kind of almost act as a low-tier booking agents. So you kind of have to get almost accepted in, you know. But it's a good scene, and everyone's very friendly, and you can get lots of good gigs and make lots of good friends, which we have.
I think doing small gigs in Cardiff has made us much better as a band, but because not anywhere different to anywhere else, but just because it's where we're from, and you need to do so many early gigs, and I still feel, you know, very much like we're still doing early gigs and everything's still just practice. But the early gigs are so important, just to be able to do it in front of some people and even know what you sound like through a PA system is so different to practice it.
Independent venues, I think, have helped us a lot, doing gigs outside of Wales. A lot of the gig circuit is run by big booking agents and Live Nation and kind of big promoters and stuff. It's good to have small venues because they just pick stuff they like. So it's really good to have local venues and have people who are willing to give people a shot. I think the most important thing to stop venues from closing is people going to gigs. And people just need to support the venues, I think, everywhere they can.
It's like a week immediately after we played the Lansdowne, like our first gig ever, we immediately got like, I'm not going to say a lot, but I'm going to say a few gig offers. As soon as they realise you can play in time, they're like, come on, please play with us.
I think like everyone's kind of friends, aren't they? So like I think like through being friends with other bands, like you kind of get the more like people help each other out, which is like a really nice thing. Yeah, and the more you gig, the more you make friends, and then the more people are like, oh, do you want to come to support us?
Yeah.
Want to build? And
That's probably one of the main things people ask us to support.
it feels like a nice little family.
It's nice though, it is nice. I feel like just seeing really quite cool bands and really tiny sweaty venues just inspires you to make more music.
Small venues are really good because it kind of makes you go and see other the bands you wouldn't normally go and see.
Cardiff is whatever kind of music you create.
Yeah.
You'll be in the Cardiff music scene, which is
Yeah.
quite nice.
Yeah, I think there was like the whole. Yeah, definitely. There was like the whole Cool Cymru thing, wasn't there, in like the late 90s and 2000s. But and then we've kind of had like a lull in Cardiff for like 15 years. But it's definitely, I don't know whether it's just because we've just kind of joined it.
I always
But like
think
it
that.
feels like really like there's all these bands and they're like,
Buzzing.
shit, there's definitely got to be some of these guys who are gonna like do really.
Every band I see, I'm like, they're gonna be famous.
I mean, funding small venues can get. Because the club were going to shut down for a bit, I reckon the more funding small venues can get, the better, because they'll just stay with you for longer.
You know I love that violence, that shit get around here last night. Now Freddy's saying violence, how violent, how you feel. The night when Sonny was sleeping in the ballroom. She's very, very tired of having that same old boring conversation. Just like me, just like you, man, it's on a night show. What you gonna do about it?
I can't remember how I heard about them. I've always tried to keep like an ear to the ground and like listen to like new bands and things like that. And at that point, they put out like a few singles that I heard somehow, maybe for a friend or something, and I just really liked. And then I booked it at the perfect time. Like when they were still small. I remember I paid them £250 was their guarantee, and that's Since 2016, I first started putting on shows just like on my own for fun, friends, bands, and things like that. So I was doing it on my own for a few years, and then I just started putting on more and more shows, like bigger touring bands and things like that. And then they just one day, Anna Williams from Cocoa Bar, my boss now, he reached out and asked if I wanted to come and work for them. And that was it. There's less places for new bands to play, less people get to go see bands and get inspired and want to go start new bands. So I think like ultimately it's the start of the death of indie music. But one really good thing that has been done a few times, I think it was Enter Shikari did it earlier this year or last year, where they implemented a £1 levy on all tickets for their stadium shows, that then goes back into the Music Venues Trust and gets dished out to small venues and things. And that stuff like that, if you implement that onto like stadium tours and arena tours, things like Taylor Swift or something like that, a £1 fee on top of their ticket isn't very much, and that's thousands and thousands of pounds that's going back into the industry then.